shining loud and clear. Might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 19. Anybody got their ears on?
Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina, and tonight I show you the other radio I picked up at a recent flea market that I went to, the only one I'll probably go to in 2020. That's this. This is a Cobra 18 WXST. This is, I've not seen one of these other than on the internet. I have owned a bunch of the 18 WXST-II, the Soundtracker 2, and it's got some differences. In fact, I think I've made a video on that, so you can check the files and see if you can find that. But this one, that one had a rotary dial for changing the channels. It also had, I think, some memories, if I recall right. And I've had these. They're great radios because they are in-dash. You can definitely slide it. It's a DIN-size radio. It has a front-firing speaker. It's something that I recommend if you got a double DIN dash and you just have a single DIN radio. Get rid of the little CD pocket and put one of these in there. Really clean install. Now, these get some hate. Some people feel like they're just not very good performers, that they have some issues. And I will say this, they do tend to break solder joints. So like, I am not a radio repair guy, but I am capable of soldering. So a lot of times if you get these radios and they're non-functional or they have a function that doesn't work right, channel selector, whatever, you can go in there, open them up, take a magnifying glass, look at the solder joints, and you'll see ones that have just cracked over the years. So a lot of times that has been my case with buying these things. And this one is no exception. It does appear to be working at first, but the weather side is working. I think transmit works on it, if I recall, but the receive is kind of iffy, so needs some work. Probably just a bad solder joint. Like I said, though, this is a unique one in the sense that it's the first model they came out with. I'm not sure when they switched over, but they have been making the 18 WXST-II for years, at least a decade, because I think I've owned 3 of those, and this is the first one of these. And I've installed I've installed 2 of those. I had one in the Echo before I put the Andy in it, and I had one in the truck up until like last month when I swapped it out for the Walker. And that was in there for years and years and years, and it was a good performer. I did have to pull it out and fix solder joints twice, once for the channel control and once for the transmit was not working. So anyway, let's take a closer look. Here's a close-up picture of the front of this, and you can see it's got some definite age and wear, but it's still in relatively good shape. The thing that I always look at on these to see if they have been used and abused or just used a lot is if the dials around the dials, if that is worn off from friction from your fingers or oils from your fingers. And in this case, this thing does have a lot of use, but not so much use that those have worn off. So that's cool that it's still in decent shape. And it does have some neat stuff on, here's the back side. It doesn't have a PA on this one, I don't believe. No PA on this one. But other than that, it's fairly good. It does have the option for an external speaker, which is cool. So I'm going to go ahead and show you up close here. Let's see, I'll probably just zoom the camera in here. But we do have our volume control over here, and then next to that is squelch control. Now this one does have that sound tracker feature, which is Cobra's version of like dynamic squelch control. Or all the manufacturers around this era were trying to find ways for their radios to cut through static, to pull voices back out. I wouldn't call this digital signal processing by any means, but it is a way that they came up with. If you were talking to another radio that also had sound tracker, that it was supposed to increase the effective range, I guess, by making your voice clearer through the static. In reality, I can't say that I've ever noticed a noticeable difference with using sound tracker, and I guess it's just a gimmick of the era. Maybe, I'm sure they had good intentions, and perhaps in the lab setting it did work, but it just didn't work out in the real world. So let's over here we do have the fact that this does have some weather channels, which is also kind of cool. The newer one I think has 7, and this one has what, 1, 2, 3 different weather. So that was something they improved upon when they went to the new model. And of course the front firing speaker. Up here we have our channel up and down. Again, kind of interesting to have buttons instead of a knob. For the second version of this, they did go back to a knob, which is interesting as well. And then we have that sound tracker button, and then we also have a channel 9 emergency button. No 19 button, which I feel like, I guess this was the end of the era for when 9 was still being monitored by state police and still being kind of used by those few React places that were still around. So, you know, probably now it would have been a 19, I guess, or maybe better yet, it could be a programmable Cobra if you're listening. If you're going to come out with the ST-III, you might want to maybe upgrade a couple things. Most notably lacking from this, and my favorite reason for having the ST-II, is this does not have a scan function. The ST-II comes with scan, and it's one of the reasons I have put them in so many of my cars over the year. It's just one of those great things when you're traveling, you know, you hit scan, you set the squelch just above the noise floor, and you just drive. And if you pick up a conversation, well, you can join in on it or just listen, depending on your mood. But this does not have that, so that was another major, I would say the most major improvement that they made between these two models. It does have a 4-pin mic, and I've got it hooked up. It did not come with a microphone, but I've got it hooked up to an El Cheapo power mic. These were great. I don't know. I got these on eBay. I don't remember what the company was, but I bought 2 of them. They were like $4 or $4.99 at the time. Now they're, you know, you can't come near them for that kind of money. So this one, like I said, I've got it plugged into the Antron. I've got it powered up. Won't receive, but I'll go through the lights and stuff with you. Oh, now it's receiving. Okay, even better. Oh no, it's on weather. I'm sorry. So it's got the light lit up for weather. So the weather part does work, but we go to radio and it cuts out. So the channel selector, no matter where I set the squelch, and no matter where I put the sound tracker. By the way, if you hit sound tracker, it does light up a light for you. If you go to 9, it goes to 9, obviously, and it blinks. I think that's kind of interesting when it's on 9 to let you know I'm not moving off of 9, I guess. So that's it. Our channel up and down does work in both directions. So again, this one probably just needs one solder joint fix. It'll be back on the road. I doubt it was abused or burned out final or anything. These things are usually pretty tough as far as having like SWR way off or whatnot. They're usually pretty rugged in that sense. And LED is working fine. I also got to say, this era, you know, everything was green LEDs, and I like the red ones personally from the, you know, the early 80s, mid 80s, where late 80s through the 2000s seems like everything was green. My TRC 503, my TRC 444, my unit in Grant, all that was green. And it is a little easier on the eyes, I guess, but I preferred that red. It just was more, it just meant something. I don't know. It's hard to pin it down, but we will not be able to hear the receive, but I will key down and just show you the meters. You can see the meter still responding. So it does key and it does work. I assume that once I fix this thing, once I open it up and fix it, that meter should work on receive as well. So it's interesting. Would I recommend this? I don't know. I guess if you don't need scan function, it certainly is a good radio for a DIN mount setup. But if you could find an ST-II that has the scan function and it was the same price, I would definitely choose the ST-II. If there was a huge price difference between the ST-II and this, and they were both sitting on a bench, I probably would be fine with this. This also actually makes for a really good base station. Both models do. No sideband on these, but with the front firing speaker and all your controls right up on front, and you could just hang that thing. It's just convenience, and I think it makes for a good little base station setup for that reason alone. You can't really modify these things. You're not going to add uppers and lowers. But they weren't ever designed for that. They just are what they are. They're set up to be a solid performer and to do what they were designed to do. And for that, you know, it's worth the $5 that I paid for it, even without a mic. Anyway, I'm Eric, the owner of Farpoint Farms. I hope you enjoyed this video. And, well, I guess I'll see you next time. Take care.